Hmm. Hello, beloved ones. It is wonderful to be here with you today. And I want to take the time to talk a little bit about this year 2016 as it draws to a close. For many of you, it has been a very difficult year. And I don't just speak about any particular country that you live in or you call home, but I mean on a global scale. There has been terrible war that has come to a culmination that has left many without homes and many who have transitioned from one life to the next. There have been natural disasters. There have been many people across the globe who are very worried financially, losing their jobs. Elections have been difficult for some of you, happy, celebratory for others. People are joining unions and leaving unions. There is much disruption in your world. And I know that this is very hard and there is a lot of pain. And even if none of these things touch your life directly, meaning that you have not lost your home or your job, you have not been involved in war or revolution, your finances are okay, maybe they could be better, but they're okay. But there's a sense for you now as a citizen of the world that there is a lot of upset and transition going on. And I would remind you that every time you personally have shifted internally, it was preceded by a lot of upheaval. There was more tumultuous events that happened in your life. You felt more volatile, maybe easy to anger, easy to frustration, easy to tears. When you shift, there has to be that upheaval. There has to be that tumultuous energy that creates space. So I want you to think about it this way. When you garden, when you want to grow something in your soil, you take your hands or a gardening tool and you start the upheaval process with the soil. You want to loosen the soil, and maybe for the soil or the worms within the soil, that can feel like a devastating chaos that you're visiting on their little patch of soil. All the insects are disruptive and there's a frantic running around and where do we go and what's happening to our home. So recognize that as devastating as some of these changes have been, mourn the devastation, mourn whatever it is that these changes have brought up for you in your life. And maybe you just mourn for the people who are going through it because you are one with them, you are a part of this collective. But do not allow the loss and the disruption to plunge you into a place that is dark and without hope. Because once you disrupt the soil, you are actually bringing light and air into that soil, oxygen, all the things that it needs to enrich itself. to release the minerals that are in the soil. And you put your seeds or your little sapling or your plant in that patch of soil. And you water it and expose it to sunlight, and something magical happens. This new life begins to grow. There are many countries and many people in your world that are trapped in old paradigms. Belief systems, paradigms that say, this is the border and you cannot cross it. These are our beliefs, and if you don't share them, we are going to eliminate you. I want this kind of power, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to have it. These are paradigms that belong to a time where there was not a lot of communication. And when there was, the communication could be presented in any way that they wanted it to be presented. There is a transparency and an immediacy that is happening in your world that is brand new to your human race. No longer can you run a war in secret. No longer can you say one thing with your mouth and do another thing with your actions and not have that come to light. This was the shift in energy in your new millennium. It was not, in one sense, let me rephrase that, in one sense it was the end of the world as you knew it. And now there comes a new age, and it is the age of transparency. And through that transparency, this is where you find your common ground, where you can say, well, I recognize that this is your patch of land, and this is my patch of land, but what do you know? We're trying to do the same things with our patch of land. We're trying to create more life. We are trying to expand that which grows and helps support our own lives. So maybe we can find something in common together. We can have a conversation. It is not the presidents and the prime ministers and the kings and queens that will change your world. It is you. It is one farmer around the world talking to another farmer around the world. It is one person living in grinding poverty talking to another person on the other side of the world living in grinding poverty. It is all of you communicating and opening yourselves to the people of this world. This is where the borders will fall away. This is where you find your common ground. Are you afraid of this? I'm afraid of that too. Are you afraid that someone's going to come in and steal your patch of land? I'm afraid of that too. And in that sharing, in that common ground, even if the common ground is fear-based or hate-filled, it is common ground. And you may think, but wait, we don't want to get all the hate-filled people together so they can join together. But you do. Because they have to learn from each other. Just as if you are in this particular life and you want to commit to joy, and you want to commit to letting borders fall away and allowing beliefs to evolve and find the common ground and light and love, you're not going to want to join with those that are still so filled with hate. It's not where you want to be. But when you join with those others who want to expand their lives and who want to join deeply in love and light, you learn, because there's going to be shadow there too. But you learn and you grow because you surround yourself with those that support where you are right now. And it's the same with people who are deeply in shadow and are filled with hate and violence. When they come together, they learn from each other, because it's not all darkness. There is light there too. There is love. There is hope. And when they come together, they learn from each other. Sometimes there are devastating consequences to when people who want power and hate and fear come together. But always you're digging in the soil. Always you're creating room for something new to grow. This year was very much about the discomfort and the pain associated with transparency. It was an awakening on a global level that I promise you, my beloved children, is vital to the collective's evolution. Right now, this moment, globally, you are in the process of deciding if you want to continue or not. If you're going to start to earnestly and deeply take care of this planet, or if you're just going to continue poisoning it so that you cannot sustain your life here. You get to decide. This is your home. And believe me, we will not allow you to destroy the planet. She can always rejuvenate. You will not be allowed to destroy something that ultimately does not belong to you. She is your host and you are her guest for however many lifetimes you choose to live, but you do not own her. She is not something that can be owned. Just like you, your soul is not something that can be owned. Do you understand? So please, no matter how deeply your life has been overturned or how painful it has been in your world this year, just take some time to feel what's really happening on a global level. There is no more us and them. There is only we now. And as this millennium progresses, it's going to become more and more and more transparent. And each time you will be given the choice, is this the direction I want to go? Or is there a better one? This year has shown you, don't wait for your politicians. Don't wait for the kings and queens and the prime ministers and the senators and anyone else that you feel is in a position of authority. Don't wait for them to make the change, because it's all we, beloved ones. You make the difference, each and every one of you. And your global world now, your ability to communicate, has put that power in your hands. You can make a difference. And if you're drawn to do so, then take action. And be content that you are doing the best you know how to do, to the best of your ability each day. And let it be enough. I love you. I'm with you and I'm with all of you. Those that are filled with hate and those that are filled with joy, and every single person in between. I love you and I will not abandon you. Stay open to growth. Look for it everywhere. And that's where you'll find me. Namaste.